Hamas resumes attacks since ceasefire shattered by Israel. The fragile peace has crumbled. After a week of cautious optimism, the region is once again gripped by escalating violence. Hamas has resumed its attacks, citing violations of the ceasefire agreement by Israel. The initial ceasefire, brokered by international mediators, aimed to facilitate the exchange of hostages and prisoners and allow humanitarian aid to reach Gaza. It provided a brief respite from weeks of intense conflict. However, both sides accused each other of violating the terms of the agreement. Hamas claimed Israel failed to release the agreed-upon number of prisoners. Israel, in turn, alleged Hamas continued to fire rockets during the truce. The resumption of hostilities underscores the deep-seated mistrust and the complexities of the conflict. The international community now faces the daunting task of trying to salvage what remains of the peace efforts. Hamas officials stated that the renewed attacks were a direct response to Israel's alleged breaches of the ceasefire agreement. They claim Israel delayed the release of Palestinian prisoners and restricted the flow of humanitarian aid. Furthermore, Hamas accuses Israel of violating the agreed-upon buffer zones. These zones were designed to prevent clashes and ensure the safety of civilians on both sides of the border. These accusations highlight the fragile nature of the ceasefire and the challenges in implementing its terms effectively. Hamas maintains its commitment to defending Palestinian territories. In response to the renewed attacks, Israel has launched retaliatory airstrikes and resumed ground operations in Gaza. The Israeli military claims its actions are aimed at dismantling Hamas's infrastructure and preventing future attacks. Israeli officials have accused Hamas of using the ceasefire to regroup and rearm. They argue that Hamas's actions demonstrate a lack of commitment to a lasting peace. The escalation of violence has raised concerns about the safety of civilians in Gaza. International organizations are calling for both sides to exercise restraint and protect civilian lives. The international community has expressed deep concern over the renewed hostilities. World leaders are urging both sides to de-escalate the situation and return to the negotiating table. The United Nations Security Council is scheduled to hold an emergency meeting to discuss the crisis. Diplomatic efforts are underway to try to broker a new ceasefire agreement. The United States, the European Union, and other key players are actively engaged in mediation efforts. The path to peace remains uncertain, but the international community is determined to find a solution. The resumption of hostilities has further exacerbated the humanitarian crisis in Gaza. Hospitals are overwhelmed, and essential supplies are running low. The United Nations estimates that hundreds of thousands of people have been displaced by the conflict. Access to clean water, food, and medical care is severely limited. International aid organizations are struggling to provide assistance to those in need. The situation is dire, and the need for humanitarian aid is urgent. The world must act now. Stay informed, demand accountability from your leaders, and support organizations providing aid on the ground. Donate, volunteer, and advocate for a just and lasting peace. The lives of countless civilians depend on it.